Come on, y'all, get up out your seat. Along the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, excellent harbors, broad land solo. The coastal plain sounds really neat. Geographic regions, Appalachian Mountains to the west, the coastal plain from Canada to Alabama, back again. North America's oldest mountain range. Geographic regions, the Canadian shale wraps round the Hudson Bay. Reminds me of a horseshoe, some might say. Warmed by erosions and hundreds of lakes. Geographic regions, west of the Appalachian, east of the Great Plains. Interior lowlands stake their claim. Flatlands, rivers, valleys, and hills. Geographic regions. In between the lowlands and the Rocky Mountain range, sit flat land we call the Great Plains. Moving higher to the west as grasslands grow. Geographic regions. Rocky Mountains to the west of the Great Plains, from Alaska, Mexico, east of the Basin Range, where the continent divide makes the rivers flow. Geographic regions. West of the Rockies is the Basin Range, like the roller coaster feels so strange. Death Valley there and it's looking mighty low. Geographic regions. The mountains along the coastal range could boast. California to Canada, we stretch the coast. Contain our fertile valleys we love the most. Geographic regions. Geographic regions. Come on, y'all, let's sing it one more time. Along the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, excellent harbors, broad land solo. The coastal plain sounds really neat. Geographic regions, Appalachian Mountains to the west, the coastal plain from Canada to Alabama, back again. North America's oldest mountain range. Geographic regions, the Canadian shale wraps around the Hudson Bay. Reminds me of a horseshoe, some might say. Warmed by erosions and hundreds of lakes. Geographic regions, west of the Appalachian, east of the Great Plains. Interior lowlands stake their claim. Flatlands, rivers, valleys, and hills. Geographic regions. In between the lowlands and the Rocky Mountain range, sit flat land we call the Great Plains. Moving higher to the west as grasslands grow. Geographic regions. Rocky Mountains to the west of the Great Plains, from Alaska to Mexico, east of Basin Range, where the continents divide make the rivers flow. Geographic regions. West of the Rockies is the Basin End Range, like a roller coaster, it feels so strange. Death Valley there and it's looking mighty low. Geographic regions. The mountains along the coastal range could boast. California to Canada, we stretch the coast. Containing fertile valleys we love the most. Geographic regions. Geographic regions.
Geographers often divide large territories, such as the United States, into smaller units to examine them more closely. In this program, we will examine the U.S. as a whole, and also take a more detailed look at our country's special land areas, natural resources, waterways, and people. The United States encompasses some 3,794,000 square miles. Over 250,000 square miles of U.S. territory consists of bodies of water, such as the Great Lakes and the Chesapeake Bay. Based on its area, the United States is the third largest country in the world. Only Russia and Canada are bigger. America consists of 50 states, and except for Hawaii, which is out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, every state is located on the continent of North America. The lower 48 states cover much of the North American continent. They are bordered by the nations of Canada on the north and Mexico to the south. Each of these 48 states shares a border with at least one other state. Located in the northernmost region of the continent, Alaska does not adjoin any other states. Instead, it shares its eastern boundary with Canada. Of the 50 states, Alaska is by far the largest, encompassing a land area of nearly 600,000 square miles. In fact, Alaska is more than 500 times the size of Rhode Island, our smallest state. But even though Alaska's land area is so much larger, Rhode Island's population actually exceeds Alaska's by over 400,000 people. States in certain areas of the country are quite similar to one another in terms of their general land features, their climate, and the species of plants and animals that are found there. Based on such similarities, geographers group states together into geographical regions for purposes of study. The 7 basic regions of the United States are the New England region, the Middle Atlantic region, the Southeastern region, the Midwestern region, the Mountain region, the Pacific region, and the Southwestern region.
The ravages of Hurricane Sandy may top $50 billion, making it one of the costliest storms ever. No single weather event can be blamed solely on global warming, but scientists at places like the Earth System Science Center at the University of Maryland are drawing conclusions about the connections between extreme weather and the warming atmosphere.
Here's an example.
Antonio Busolacci is the center's director.
There's no doubt that the background climate around the world is warming. On top of that warming trend, we're going to have extreme events. And the two are actually conflated together.
Busolacci says there's no way to slap a price tag on climate change. This summer, a record-breaking drought ravaged the Midwest, destroying crops and boosting food prices.
It's estimated that about half of our growth in GDP this past year, half of it is going to be lost from the drought.
Stunning as they are, those costs pale in comparison with the havoc rising sea levels could wreak on U.S. cities in the future. Scientists say if a storm the size of Hurricane Sandy were to hit Washington, this entire area, the heart of the nation's capital, would be underwater. And yet, efforts to enact a national climate policy remain stagnant. In President Barack Obama's first term, efforts to set a cap on carbon emissions and require companies to pay for emissions over their allowed limit failed to get through Congress. The administration has cut emissions with higher energy efficiency standards for vehicles and appliances. But in his first post-re-election press conference, Obama said more progress won't be easy.
There's no doubt that for us to take on climate change in a serious way would involve making some tough political choices. If the message is somehow we're going to ignore jobs and growth simply to address climate change, I don't think anybody's going to go for that.
The science, economics, and politics of global warming are complicated, but one conclusion is simple. If we just keep doing what we are doing now, it's likely only going to get worse. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Washington.
These are America's national parks. Once the treasured pride of a nation, now man's air pollution is bringing smoggy vistas, mercury-laden streams, melting glaciers, and struggling and dying species. Why, there's a blue-spotted butterfly now.
But if we cleaned up the dirty old coal-fired power plants like we said we'd do 30 years ago, that would help clean up the air.
As the breezes blow down from the Alpine highlands, over 150 new coal-fired power plants are in development.
But if we developed clean energy instead of coal, we can help turn the sky blue again in our national parks.
As the glacial meltwater flows down from the ancient granite canyons, so do political contributions flow from fossil fuel industries.
But if the people got together and convinced Congress to make power plants cut their global warming pollution, we can save the parks forever.
As the migration spanned the continent, the daily ritual of life continued to take its toll on the land.
But if you do something in your everyday life, like driving less and conserving energy at home, you can make a difference today.
The blue-spotted butterfly, a lonely cry in the wilderness, or a call to action for all.
But if everybody started cleaning the air and contacting Congress right now, it's not too late.